Hello everybody and welcome back. In this lesson, I'd like to introduce you to the RSLogix 500 programming environment. This is one of the more classic PLC programming environments developed by Rockwell Allen Bradley for their RSLogix PLCs and various other families of PLCs that they have. Just to give you an idea, only from Allen Bradley there are at least 4 different programming languages, and there are PLCs made by Omron, Mitsubishi, Siemens, various other companies as well, and no two of them really program exactly the same. But if there's one common thread that almost all of the PLCs have, it's that they run a basic form of ladder logic. Some have programming systems above and beyond ladder logic, but at the core, most PLCs do run one form of ladder logic or another. So even though we're going to be working in RSLogix 500 throughout this course, most of the concepts you see will translate very easily into other systems. So let me take a little bit of time just to introduce you to this GUI, graphical user interface, that we're going to be looking at for much of the rest of this course. Of course, you've got the standard menu bars across the top. Up in this top left block right here, we have the ability to go online, to download a program to the PLC, and to upload a program from the PLC. We can select which PLCs we're working with in the comms menu. We can look at our RSLinx, which is another program that governs connectivity through serial connections, Ethernet connections, which we'll be discussing later on in this course. And we can actually choose PLCs that we have and decide whether we want to connect with them, upload, download, diagnose them, things like that. To the left, we have a project navigation pane, which gives us access to basically every part of a PLC program, and we'll be getting into several of these components throughout this course. To the right, and this largest pane here, this is our code window, and this is where the magic happens. This is where all of our logic, all of our program is developed. In this window, in this pane right here, we have access to various instructions that we can drop into our program. And there are menu after menu full of various instructions, most of them given really arbitrary and somewhat enigmatic names like DLG and INT and STS, and it takes a while to learn what all of those are. The good news is 80 to 90% of those commands are things that most of us will never have to use. To write a basic PLC program to control a typical machine, you don't use 90% of the commands available to you in this environment. So rest assured, it's not necessary to learn 500 different commands to write a PLC program. If you learn 20 commands, you can probably do almost everything you need to with the PLC. Aside from those menus, we also have built into the Edit menu, Verify Project and Verify File. These come in handy because every time we write a code, every time we change an instruction, we have the ability to go through and check to see if there are any problems with our program. And right here it tells me I have an error in Program File 5, Rung 1, Instruction 2. I have 3 different errors. And when I look, Program File 5, which is what I'm in now, it's my alarm ladder. On Rung 1, that absolute value block that I added has no source and no destination, and it's not in the appropriate location on the line, on the rung that it should be. Therefore, the program kicked it back to me. It won't compile this and it won't load this. When I take that out, I verify my project again. Now it likes everything. It certainly doesn't know whether or not my program is going to control the machine the way I want it to. It can't read my mind, but it does know that as far as the syntax of the programming language goes, there are no errors, so it will allow this program to be compiled and loaded onto a system. Another handy feature that this environment has is the ability to search very quickly throughout the entire program and find by address any tag that we need. So if I have an alarm reset push button on OIT, such as this one here, and we'll get into what all of this means later on in the course, but we have an address B3123, I can very quickly just tell it to find all, which is the same as typing it up in this box and using this command here. And it will tell me very quickly, right down here in this bottom pane that appears, exactly where I can find that memory location throughout the program. It tells me what file, it tells me what rung, and it even tells me, if you see this XIO and this XIC, it even tells me what type of operation is using that address. So if I'm looking for a place where a bit is being written, I can find it very quickly. If I'm looking for a place where a bit is being read, I can find that just as easily. So it's a very user-friendly programming environment, very functional, and out of several PLC programming utilities that I've used, RSLogix 500 is probably the fastest one a person can use to develop a fully functional PLC program.